So I've become affiliated with the Ralph Bunche Community Center because the school is so special to us. At the time I started Ralph Bunche Elementary School, we had just moved to the community a few years before, and we lived at the end of Millswamp Road, nearest Route 2. And I can remember as a 6-year-old in the first grade having to walk from up on the Hardesty Hill, we called it, all the way down to Ralph Bunche. But you know, it was a different time, different era. I wasn't afraid. But in the winter, we had some bad winters. Nothing compared to these winters. I mean, our winters were really bad then. And I can remember my mother standing on the porch, holding one of my siblings, and just looking at me. And I kept wondering, why is she looking at me? But I mean, the snow was probably up to here, and I had a long way to walk. And there were other buses passing us by because, you know, schools were segregated. And here's this little 6-year-old girl walking. So she convinced Bates High School was in existence then, so she convinced the school board to pick me up with the high school kids. By that time, my brother, who was Charles, was walking with me, so she convinced them to pick me up so that I wouldn't have so far to walk. She must have been awfully worried, but you know, my mother's deceased, and it's just hitting me how worried she must have been. But you know, she was a fighter, and she was determined that her kids were not going to get to school tired and cold and whatever. But that was my experience. Other people had other experiences, but Ralph Bunche was a wonderful place to go. And I think that's where I get my love for writing and reading. A lot of emphasis was put on math, writing, and reading. And math was my weak spot, but they realized what our weak spots were, and they worked with us on those weak spots. But it just, my natural ability flowed when it came to writing and reading. And I had some wonderful teachers who really pushed me and got the most out of me.